So now that we have spent time looking into this resource log and what is expected of us during this project, I'm going to walk you through some quick and easy steps to set up your own digital log that is organized in a similar fashion. So first, through the normal steps of creating a new Google document, the first thing we are going to do is we're going to name it with the number from our class period. So if you're 1, see the crafts classes are 1, 3, 7, or 8. That's one of your numbers. Last name, oops, not a slash, but a dot, Marlowe, dot Heather, dot mask. Make sure you have no spaces in between, and that will help organize your information later when you share it with Ms. O'Donnell. Now, the first step here, well, the second step actually, is we go over to Insert, which is the 4th tab over, and down to Table. And I created a table for my title space. You don't have to. That was just something that I liked with the way that mine looked. But what I would suggest is creating a 4-square table and labeling these for the components that we are looking for in our research. So we have materials, representation, color, and design. I might even go through, select those, and make them bold. And now when we hit enter a couple of times, we can create a nice large space. And now as we go through our research, we can categorize it and keep track of where we are and how much we have for each section. If you click out of here, hit the enter button, we can make one more table. And this I'll use for interesting facts I find along the way that doesn't necessarily pertain to this, but just something that I want to hold on to because it's one of the things I found really interesting about this project. So now the next step that I'm going to demo for you is actually about research. So if you have control over your windows while you're on the web, you can adjust the size and you can run what I like to call a dual window system, where we've got our research log on one side and we have our assignment here on the other side. This means that we can follow through with the links, have multiple links open, and then we can record information over here in our log, and we don't have to keep flipping through tabs or wondering and losing our assignment. We've got them both open right here. So now the first step is, well, where I started was I looked at the history of masks, but something that I'd like to show you real quick is the library actually has an art projects page with some resources for our mask assignment. So that link is provided for you to come and find these sources. They may be helpful. It may help you find a direction that you want to go in. And now when I started my research, I went to the History of Mask website. This is the same one you guys had in your introduction stations. And something in this article that really stood out to me was this sentence right here. In West Africa, masks are used in ceremonies which purpose is to communicate with ancestral spirits. I think that was my first interesting fact, and it was what really wanted me to go in this direction. I wanted to learn more about this ceremonial practice. So I'm going to come back over to the page on the right, and I'm going to record West African masks used in ceremonies to communicate with ancestors. Now, because I've used information from this page, I'm going to hit Control-C, come down, create a place for my resources, and hit Control-V, and record that as a place that I took information from. That way I can retrace my steps, and if I need to, and I can also prove and show evidence for the information that I've provided because I can share where I found it and explain why I believe that that's an authentic source. Now, if we come back to the page on the left and go back to our mask resources, I'd like to very quickly share with you a really fast and easy way to collect image sources with this dual window system. I've included 2 authentic image sources for you. You can use Google, but be careful because the images that pop up are not always exactly what it is you're looking for, or if you were to type in masks of a certain region, it's hard to narrow down if each mask you're looking at specifically came from your region. So I would suggest finding a museum or some kind of organization that has a log of information about masks as just a credible source to search. The one that I provided for you is the Metropolitan Museum. I believe this is in New York, and it's a pretty great resource. So what I'm going to do, instead of just searching for masks in general, I'm going to write West African masks. Now these should all be generally from the western edge of Africa. Now granted, that's still a lot of space, but at least I know that they should be relatively near one another, even though I'm not exactly sure where these specific locations are, located in parentheses next to the name of the piece. So as we scroll through here, you might notice this image of a face mask. I had it in the demo research log. If you click on the image, if you click on the mask, it brings up a larger image. And if you come to your research log and you have this image opened on the other side, you can actually drag and drop that right over. Now this means that we have to record the Metropolitan as one of our sources. So Control V, and maybe even label it face mask. And now if you select the image, you can kind of move it around a little bit. If you come up here and hit the backspace, we can bring it up on the page. When you have it with these little halos, you can pull in from the corner and it won't get distorted and change its shape, which can sometimes happen if you pull out from the side. But not to worry, if you hit Control Z, you'll go back a step and it'll fix that. Now, like I said before, I'm not exactly sure where this is. So let's find out. If we look here, we have the geography, right? That's where it's located. That's sort of the region it exists in. So we're going to hit Control C. We're going to come over. We're going to go to Google. And we're going to look up this region. We're going to come into Images. And we're going to find some map of the region. This is the same one that I used in the demo log. So let's just go ahead and drag it right over. And if you hit backspace a couple of times with it on the edge of your image, you should be able to get them lined up roughly. And once you have your images lined up, don't forget to come back. And let's see where this image came from. Nationsonline.org. This is looking pretty good. Control C. Control V for your copy paste and write face mask map image. And now you're on your way. You've got some images, you know where you're going to start looking, and now you can gather information for these specific regions. Don't forget to use specifics like we talked about, looking into like not only do they use animals and different parts of their animals, but that's specifically to channel power in certain ways. They use colors in a purposeful way that are natural tones. This is all information that I found about West Africa through the sources I have down here. So now it's your turn to find a location that piques your interest and makes you want to learn more, so that when you make your own mask about you, you can use their symbolic language to represent your ideas. Take your time and try to have fun. Now get to it.